This is Fans on the Run, a podcast made by, for, and about Beatles fans. And now, here's your host, Alexanian.
Hello. Welcome back to Fans on the Run, the world's only Beatles podcast. Don't fact check me on that. So, when this goes up, it'll be January. And, you know, I feel like January gets a lot of hate as a month. People say, oh, it's just so depressing. I actually don't mind January. I hate February, because that's when I find it really depressing, and the snow just gets obnoxious. Because in January, the snow is at least still kind of like how the snow was in December, like all fresh and crisp and all that stuff. But then February, it just gets kind of slush, and yeah, that's when I really get depressed. But again, actually, I think that may be the best introduction I've ever given to a show, working in the depression, like, right off the bat. So, we're off to a strong start. But anyways, like I always have for you guys, I have a great guest for you today. He's a Beatle fan. He has followings on Instagram and YouTube's vinyl community, and he has one of the most impressive collections of Beatles records I've ever seen. He goes by Beatlevinyl85, but right now he is Marvin Gee. Marvin, welcome to Fans on the Run.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you very much for having me.
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm hanging in there, but I'm just hanging in there for the most part. I'm doing great.
So I want to ask you to start, since we're both record collectors. How has your record collecting experience been during this pandemic?
Well, it's been different during this pandemic. I've done a lot of ordering online, like I usually do, but I've done more ordering online than before the pandemic. And I made very little trips to the store. The record store I usually go to in my area is only open for appointments. So you know, I had the chance to make an appointment at the record store, but I just couldn't decide on the date or time. You know, like you know, with this interview here, but you know, hopefully at some point I'll figure out a date or time. But yeah, it's been different. I go to record stores that are open, but as usual, I have to maintain social distance, wear a mask, and I have a sanitizer. You know, whenever I go through records, I have to sanitize my hands after the trip. Because how dirty most of them are, but
that's what I do. I have this like spray bottle of sanitizer, and you know, as soon as I walk into the store, spray my hands. Like as soon as I am done with digging through one section, I spray it and then go to the other. But actually, yes, ever since the record stores, mostly in Toronto, reopened back in like June. It's been pretty much back to normal, because, like, I think, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I find record buying or record stores a very antisocial activity sometimes. That's maybe why I'm not fun to go record shopping with, because I'm just, like, hyper-focused on the records. Like, don't talk. I'm trying to figure out what pressing of Beatles 6 this is just by looking at the top 3 inches.
Well, I'm a little bit like that socially, but I made some real good friends at the record store. One of my friends who's no longer with us. I was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. There's a record store there called Culture Clash Records.
I've heard of Culture Clash.
Yeah, yes, great record store. The owner of that store, named Pat. I've been friends with him ever since I've been going to the record store the year that I started buying vinyl records, which was back in 2009. All my life I've been a vinyl person, even though I grew up with CDs and cassettes, but I didn't really buy vinyl records until that particular year. And that's also when the Beatles were masters came out, the 2009 ones. and I've been buying a lot from Pat. Whenever he has stuff for me that he wants me to check out and see if I'm interested, he would put it on the counter, and I check it out and say, okay, I'll take this, or thank you, I think I'll pass on this. And then as time went by, we've been friends, and we've been friends. I was still buying from him even when I was no longer living in Ohio. I live somewhere down south, the southeast portion of the United States. But I've been still. When I go up there to visit family, I always drop by Culture Clash, and whenever he's there, I want to buy stuff from him and also talk to him, telling him that how's everything, and then he asks how's everything with me, and we keep in touch, and even on Facebook we keep in touch. And one of the last things I ever bought from him before he passed back in 2016. That was a horrific year. We lost all these great people.
Yeah.
But he had a sudden heart attack in 2016. One of the last things I bought from him before he died that year was the Fireman album, the first Fireman album that Paul McCartney did with Youth. It's the vinyl edition of the first Fireman album, which has been out of print for I don't know how long. Pat was one of my great friends, and whenever I go to the Culture Clash store when I visit Ohio, I'm just like, it's hard for me to imagine him not being there.
Yeah,
because when I go into the store, I always expect him to be there. So
you just kind of mentally associate Culture Clash with your friend. Yes, absolutely. And he has there's a new owner at the store, and we're great friends as well. And there's a store here in my area where I make friends with the record store owner too. I talk with him a lot. But I see where you're going with going to record stores and not wanting to, you just want to look through the records and then verify the pressing for yourself. Yeah. Well, I think I should be more social, because then maybe I might make more friends with like owners or staff.
Yes.
But again, I'm also a young collector, so my experiences with some record store staff have not been always perfect.
Yeah, and I've been through that. I've been through that myself. I've been through that where some stores I go in, and if I don't know the person, I'm kind of in the position where I just want to look through the records and don't want anyone talking to me while going through the records. I mean, I'm okay with them talking to me. It's just just a simple, "Hey sir, can I help you?" And I'm like, "I'm just looking, thank you." and then just look through the records. But I like to get to know the record store owners. I don't necessarily just want to, put them, just say that I'm all good, thank you, and stuff like that.
Oh, now that we're on the subject of record stores, I had some questions written, but I think I'm going to go out of order because this will be kind of a better segue. What is, in your opinion, the best find you've ever found at a record store? Like one that still sticks out in your mind. Could be Beatles, could be something else. Something that was just kind of like, I can't believe I'm seeing this.
This one just came in mind. Back in late 2016 or 2017, whatever it is, I've already been buying multiple copies of this particular album, which was released on VJ back in 1964.
Introducing the Beatles?
Close. It was the Beatles versus the Four Seasons record.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yes. And at the time, I was already collecting like so many different variations of introducing the Beatles, mainly version 2. Mm-hmm. And I also bought some of the two to three of the stereo copies
Actually, just to clarify for the folks at home who may not know, what is the difference between version 1 and version 2 of
version 1? Yeah, version 1 of Introducing the Beatles has Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You in place of Please Please Me and Ask Me Why. Well, Ask Me Why in side 1 and Please Please Me opens side 2 of version 2. That was done because of contractual obligations with VJ from what I remember. But one of the local stores in my area here, which is no longer open. At the time they were open, I went in the afternoon and just to look around, just to look through records, and then I went through the B section and I saw the top font of the Beatles versus the Four Seasons album that I recognized. I picked it up. I thought it was going to be in terrible shape, but I looked at the price sticker and it said $24.
What?
Yeah, for an authentic Beatles versus Four Seasons album. It doesn't have the poster. I didn't get the one with the poster until a few months later. Had to pay more money for it, but a few months later I got the poster. But at that time, I was like $26 for this album, $25 I think. But I had to check the album. I had to check the gatefold, check the inside of the album, which is the gatefold. I had to look through the vinyl records, make sure everything's okay before I take it to the counter, and everything was okay. I went ahead and bought it for $26.
I think that may be the reason why I don't have as many early American like VJ, Swan, Tully, whatever.
That's really because I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's really because there are too many fakes.
Exactly.
There are too many fakes of that particular album made.
And like some of the fakes are like so close to the originals that I don't want to end up paying like more than I should for something and then find out like, oh, it's a fake, man. Like I know some of the things like, okay, if you see George's shadow, then you know it's legit. But there are so many like counterfeit versions that do have George's shadow, and then you have to start looking at the back and see, well, there's a little bit of ink missing in that letter. And
the letter E in A Taste of Honey.
Exactly. And especially with the 45s, that just is always frustrating when I go to like a record store in the US and like they have a huge section of Beatle 45s and it's like, oh, I think I actually might finally pick up like some of the VJ stuff. And then there are like 20 different versions of like Please Please Me From Me to You, and they all look different.
Yes, I see. Yeah, some of them will have the oval VJ and some of them will have the bracket VJ on the label. Yeah.
It's see, that's what I like about being Canadian. There are not that many fake Canadian Beatle records. It's not like you have to check the back of like Long Tall Sally and see, okay, does the recorded in Canada line up with the track listing? And yeah.
Yeah, I get where you're going there.
So now I'll go back to the beginning.
Yes.
How did you first discover the Beatles?
Yeah, very beginning. I discovered the Beatles through both of my parents. My parents, both happy, both still alive and well, and they're hanging in there too while we're under this pandemic. But both of my parents have been Beatle fans since 1964, so they're first generation Beatle fans. Yeah. They basically played their music. I remember them. We used to go to like a cottage or something right by the lake in Ohio.
Yeah.
And my mom would take me over. I think it was just me and her going to the cottage to do, for mom to do some housework there. And she would put on the 20 Greatest Hits album on the cassette of 20 Greatest Hits in the cassette player. And we would also play it in the car while we're traveling, the 20 Greatest Hits album, which is which is basically it's an equivalent of the one album, except
Yeah.
it's the 20 US number one hits, while the one album just has both the UK and the US number one hits.
And the one album
And
actually has the full version of Hey Jude.
yes, that cassette. The cassette copy has the 5-minute version of Hey Jude. It was trimmed down by a couple minutes.
Okay.
And that was really where my love of the Beatles started. I've basically been a Beatles fan all my life through my parents. But it wasn't until the anthology that I learned more about the Beatles, and that I became a hardcore fan. You know, I became an expert on them. Well, not a perfect expert, but you know, I know a lot about them because of the anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand before that there was the complete Beatles documentary, which was sometime in the 80s, I believe.
It was like 82 or 83.
82. It was 82. It was about 82, but it was really the anthology that made me a hardcore fan. But I've been listening to them all my life, and I've also been listening to the solo stuff.
So, do you have any like distinct memories from the time of anthology? Like, do you remember watching it on TV?
Yes, I watched it on ABC. I watched the first anthology TV showing on the first day. I believe it was 3 days. I watched all 3 days. But what really, that there was a lot of moments. There's so many moments I remember from watching the anthology TV series. But the moment that strikes me the most was the showing of the Free as a Bird music video at the end of the show. that was really one I have to mention. There's so much that I love. There's so many moments like I could talk about these moments for about 10 minutes or so, but I really wanted to mention the memories of how I reacted when I saw Free as a Bird and Real Love for the first time.
How do you think those two songs hold up now? Now that it isn't like the excitement of like 2 new Beatles songs.
Well, hard for me to distinguish that from the main catalog, but the only thing I can say is that that they are the, even though the Threedos recorded it, that they are the Beatles tracks, because all 4 of them are on there, but not in at the same time. Because of course they have to use the John Lennon demos for those 2 songs. But I will say that I enjoy both of the songs, but they're not among my top favorite Beatles songs. But that I can still listen to them and enjoy them and remember the time when those songs came out, when both of those songs came out, back in mid 90s.
Well, I think they're both fantastic still. However,
yes, they are.
I think Free as a Bird doesn't hold up as well as Real Love.
It's hard for me to pick which one I like the most, but I could say Real Love, but at times if I want to go in like the slower the slower tempo kind of music, it would be Free as a Bird.
Oh yeah, and plus you can't beat like the slide guitar on Free as a Bird.
Oh,
it's just classic George.
Yeah, absolutely. And George is all over on the song Real Love too.
Oh yeah,
because George did the guitar echoing thing that the others kept denying him to do back then, especially Paul.
Yeah,
because Paul George wanted to do the guitar echoing on Hey Jude, but Paul refused it.
And so 30 years later, he got his wish.
Yes. Yes, because he wanted to do the guitar echoing, and it wouldn't have worked, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey Jude,
Yeah,
Don't
like that.
Get that. Bang!
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like that. When I heard the story about that, I was like, it would have sounded terrible.
Someone should do that just for fun. Just play Hey
Maybe.
Jude and then just do the guitar echo bits.
That'd be interesting. But
Well, there's my project for the evening.
I still feel like no. It wouldn't have worked either way.
Yeah. Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yes.
So, you mentioned the 20 Greatest Hits album. What was the first album that you remember like owning or buying yourself? That it was your Beatles album?
It was the cassette. It was the cassette reissues of some of the UK albums.
Okay.
Now wait a minute. It was. I remember it. Those were the ones I bought. The cassette copies of some of the UK Beatles albums,
like those late '80s gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
The gold cover ones, and some of the ones I remember buying with my own money were with the Beatles and Rubber Soul and Beatles for Sale at the time. The other cassettes that I still have to this day, I showed them in the video. Some of the cassette tapes that I used to listen to, my father bought me when I was very little at the time, and some of the cassettes that he bought were the U.S. albums, and I knew nothing of the U.S. albums until my father bought some of those cassette tapes because I was getting used to the UK albums because of the 1987 CDs. Those are the ones that they were playing a lot, and that was after I discovered the Beatles from the 20 Greatest Hits album. So it was like very, very early 90s. My dad bought the Yesterday and Today album on cassette. and looking at the track list, I noticed some of the songs from Rubber Soul and Revolver and Help were on there. Well, there's Help and Act Naturally. Yeah. But the three Revolver songs are the John songs that were released on Yesterday and Today before they even came out in England. When Revolver was released in August in England, of '66. Do you have? Yeah, but I didn't know that album predated Revolver. I just looked at the compilation. I was like, okay, some of these are on Rubber Soul, Revolver, and Help, and some of the and there's a single We Can Work It Out in Day Tripper on that. Yeah, and then later on you got the second album. And I fell in love with that album, and I fell in love with the second album, because it's just, all rock and roll on it, even though there's only one song sung by Paul on it, which is Long Tall Sally. I love the second album for it's such a rocker, but my favorite part is the title, because I can't imagine how much of a fuck you that would have been to VJ. Yes. It's like, okay, there's a Beatles album. Wait, what? The Beatles second album? There's been like 4 Beatles albums by now. Yeah, because there was Meet the Beatles, and Introducing the Beatles was released around the same time as Meet the Beatles. Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah, but the Beatles were not involved with putting that album together. It was the Capitol people. Yeah. Well, I think that may have been the earliest the earliest instance of revisionism in Beatles history. Yes. Absolutely. That's well said there. Yeah, which revisionism is something we've come to know and love from the Fab Four to an extent. Yes. And the one who does a lot of it is Paul recently. Paul's been doing a lot of revisionists. Yeah. When he's interviewed. It's like he has the same stories that he tells in interviews that he's been telling for the past 30 years, but I feel like as he keeps telling them, they just change ever so slightly more and more. Yes. True, very true. It's less more like what happened and more what Paul wanted to happen. Yes, I agree with you there on that. But some of those stories didn't change much. I mean, when he talks about writing yesterday and Hey Jude, the same stories that I have to hear, there's no the well with yesterday. I remember him mentioning. I remember him talking that he went to the others to see if they know if they know that Paul plagiarized the melody
Yeah.
for yesterday, but it's all original, 100% original.
I think the best example of like the whole concept is, do you remember a couple months ago when there was that like BBC Two thing with Sean Lennon and Paul?
Yes.
And Paul
Yes.
was telling that story, or Sean asked him about the story of like getting on the bus to go to this guy in Liverpool who knew B7, like the chord.
Yes.
And Paul said, I've told that story so many times over the years, I'm not even sure if it happened anymore.
I did remember hearing that. Yeah, I did remember hearing that because I listened to all the interviews, BBC Two interviews that Sean did. Yeah, but yeah, I did remember that as well. Yeah, because yeah. So I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just want to say apologies to any of my actual Liverpudlian listeners for subjecting you to my Paul voice again.
Yeah, I was like interesting. Yeah, but maybe someone will refresh him on that. I don't know.
So, I want to talk. You've always been a Beatles fan. How did you go from like fan to super fan, and especially when did you become like a collector?
I became a collector. Early on, I just loved the music of the Beatles, but as I went through my father's record collection, because he also collects Beatles records, but not as crazy as I am. Paying crazy money for a lot of these rare records. He goes to the store to see whatever he buys and he's interested. He picks it up.
Yeah.
But I noticed different pressings of the Beatles albums. There's the UK ones I'm used to, but there's also the Japanese ones. Some of the Japanese UK albums and the Japanese US albums, and some German albums as well.
Do you remember what the first like import you saw was that made you go like, "Huh, these are different"?
I believe it was the Beatles Beat album.
Oh, the German.
The Beatles, the Beatles Beat German album, because of the cover.
Funny enough, that outside of like the American and the British and the Canadian albums, that was the first import I actually ever bought too. It was the Beatles Beat.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember when I started collecting vinyl records in 2009. The week that the Beatles remasters came out, I bought a Howland reissue pressing of the Beatles in Italy album, which is not a live album in Italy. It's a release in Italy of the studio tracks, the 12 studio tracks. I believe there's 12 on there.
Sorry, I just have to rant about that album now, because that's an album that has always confused me and has made me like violently angry for no reason. The Beatles in Italy. Okay, first of all, the cover wasn't taken in Italy.
No,
it was the Washington Coliseum, I think.
Yeah, it clearly looks like the Washington Coliseum, the 1964 concert. Yes.
And second of all, what the hell does it have to do with Italy? There's, it was the most releases, like according to like Discogs, there was only a couple releases of it in Italy. Yeah. They were mostly like Dutch and Swedish and Israeli. Yes. It's like, why are they putting out this album?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember if Japan reissued it for their EAS.
I think series. They did.
I'll have to look that up. But yeah, the title is totally misleading on that. Because it was released. I think it it was released in Italy, but there was also an Israeli pressing, which I have in my collection. But it has
that's the one with the back cover on the front.
Yes, the champagne cover.
Yeah.
But it is an authentic pressing, but it's not in mint condition or anything. I found that for a good price, and it's basically a filler copy. But that one was released in Israel at all, and that one was released in Israel too. Excuse me. Yeah, that particular album. And so it's released in other places other than just Italy.
Oh, now you've got me thinking. Now I have to check Discogs.
Yes, I haven't checked Discogs for that album in quite some time. That since I bought the Israel copy of it. And I also have the original Italian pressing of that album, but it's actually a second variation because I remember the first one has a red Parlophone label. I have the black Parlophone one.
I don't have a first Italian pressing. I think mine's from like mid or sometime in the 70s because it's the blue watery Parlophone label.
I'm trying to make out what pressing that is. You said the blue watery Parlophone label.
If I'm going off my memory, it looks like water droplets on the label or something. I'll pull it up and see if I can describe it a bit better because this could
I remember seeing some reissues with the cloud label.
Okay.
The blue
cloud. Cloud may be a better label. Description. Yes, that's the one.
Could be French. Yeah, could be French, but some of the French records have that.
Well, a lot of the EMI European albums in the 70s had them. It's just Britain missed out.
Yes. Yeah, because in Great Britain they use a black background.
Yeah. Which is rather boring to have your label pretty much unchanged for 17 years. Yes.
Capitol Capitol here in North America went through the label changes, as you know.
Oh, but they went through them crazy.
Yes, crazy. There's so many variations they created. But when I collect the U.S. albums, I always get the first pressing, the label that they were originally released on.
The nice rainbow band label.
Yeah, everything before Magical Mystery Tour, I make sure that the rainbow label is on there, and I make sure it's the first variation. Now, for the White Album and everything after, it will be Apple.
Yeah. Do you know what's something I've actually been collecting as of late, or trying to?
Yes.
The green Capitol label from 1969. I really like. Yeah.
The lime green one. If you're gonna collect the lime green Capitol, if you're gonna collect the Beatles U.S. album with the lime green Capitol label, get the Yesterday and Today one, but it's got to be the Record Club edition because that particular pressing has all the songs in true stereo. I believe the three revolver tracks on Yesterday and Today. The stereo copies have them in fake stereo, but the lime green one, make sure it's a Record Club pressing because there's also a standard lime green one which I purchased by accident that has those three songs in fake stereo. It's the Record Club pressing with the lime green that has all songs in true stereo.
Well, funny enough, you actually say Yesterday and Today. Because that's one of the ones I have, but it's again because I'm Canadian. It's a Canadian version.
Canadian. Oh,
so I don't know if it is also in true stereo or if it's in fake stereo. It's certainly not a Record Club version.
That's from what I know. I was just saying that, But that and the other one, well, I'm in the U.S. obviously. The other one that I have, because I bought this Beatles vinyl haul for a particular record. I believe it was for a stereo version, a genuine stereo version of the songs, Pictures and Stories of the Fabulous Beatles, which is the Introducing the Beatles album.
Yeah.
One of the lime green records was the Help soundtrack.
Okay.
So that's another one I have that's on the lime green Capitol label.
Of course, us Canadians have the benefit. We also got I think you Americans got a few of them, but we got the whole set, the red Target label.
Yeah, I had the red Capitol label in mine. I was about to mention that you Canadians have the Canadian red Capitol red Target label pressings. Well, there's very limited of them here in the U.S. because they wanted to switch to the Apple. They had that design ready, but they wanted to put it on the Apple label.
Because we never switched over to the Apple. We went right to the after using the red one for I think like a year or two. We just switched over to the orange label.
The orange label,
like
and then
a
the
good
purple
2 or 3 years before, like the American
one
switched to the orange.
Yes, absolutely. I like getting some of the Canadian albums with the Capitol purple label because that's aside from the Capitol rainbow label, I like the purple Capitol one. I always like the design of that.
And
but I don't know about you, but that's just me personally.
I like them, and with some of the purple label Canadian ones, there's some interesting stuff. Especially, I don't know if there's something special about. I think there's something special about Meet the Beatles, but I know with the Beatlemania with the Beatles has like a wide stereo and a narrow stereo mix. But you have to look at the dead wax, and I get confused.
Regarding Meet the Beatles, yes, there is a Canadian pressing, which is an oddity, and I have that in my collection. It's like a late 70s pressing, I believe. It is a late 70s pressing, and it is in near mint condition, I'm happy to say. I think I had to buy it.
Now I remember what's suspect. That's the one
Don't Bother Me.
Yeah, it's got
Don't Bother Me era.
It's got the extra don't in there.
Yes. That's the particular pressing I bought. I bought it for that Don't Bother Me oddity.
Now I remember what it was.
Yeah, near the end of the song, it has an extra don't before the final chorus, but before the song fades out.
We're talking about collecting, and so I want to ask you some other kind of collecting questions. No problem. What was the first rare Beatle album that you remember getting?
I'm gonna have to say the first rare Beatles album that I bought when I started collecting vinyl records. They would have to be the original UK pressings of the Beatles albums because those were the records I wanted first when I started collecting vinyl records back then.
Well, I think that's how all of us North American people start. On our downward spiral.
Yeah, some of them I had to buy from England, but the one that cost me the first Beatles record that cost me a fortune, kind of, was the mono version of the Yellow Submarine album, which is not a true mono.
Yeah,
it's a stereo photo to mono, but the UK mono first pressing of Yellow Submarine was kind of rare because at the time stereo was taken over and mono was on its way out in England. But I remember reading there wasn't a lot, that many presses of the mono album, and it was an eBay bid. So I had to put in the bid, and for on eBay, and it finished at crazy money, and I had enough for it at the time.
Yeah.
But that was the rare record I remember. It was the first rare Beatles record that I remember getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, way before the Butcher albums and the Please Please Me Black and Gold mono album, and of course the VJ albums.
You lucky fucker. And I think I remember seeing something on your Instagram. You have something that I've been wanting for a long time. A first German export pressing, or it was sold like to Brits stationed in Germany of Please Please Me.
Yes. That's a German export pressing. He called me a lucky fucker. I was gonna say lucky bitch too. I don't do the cussing on my channel. I do a lot of it in real life, so don't think I'm offended. But,
well, there's a lot of cussing on this show.
Yes. A lot of cussing on the show. Then okay, then I'll drop some. I won't do it on my channel because I know there are a lot of Well, the thing is, I know there's a lot of young people watching. Cause I met an 11-year-old kid at 12. I think he was 12. I met a 12-year-old kid at the Fest for Beatles fans in New Jersey, and he recognized me. And I'm like, I'm doing a great job keeping my channel family friendly. So
yeah.
But sorry to change topics.
Oh, that's all right.
Because I wanted to let you know you're not you're not offending me. So I might drop a few F-bombs here and there. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But
I like the way you casually just kind of dropped in. Oh yeah, before the Butcher covers and before the black and gold label, Please Please Me's.
Yeah, that was the first record that was the first real rare record I bought. And also before the Penny Lane promo 45 with the trumpet end at the end of the song.
You're killing me here, man.
Yeah, and I got the authentic ones, but I don't mean to meander. I apologize.
No, this is the podcast of meandering.
Yes, but back to that German export. I found that for a nice price from a guy in Canada. I remember it was part of a haul, and there's another one, which is a German export, but in Switzerland, which is Help.
I have one of those.
The Help one?
Yeah. I picked it up from a record store that was closing down, and for years they had these two matching German export Swiss copies of Help. One was $200 and the other was a lot less. And so I finally picked up the one that was a lot less.
A lot less. It's just a common cover because I remember there's a variation of Help.
Oh.
A variation of the German export Help, which I love to have. And to be honest, I have the money to buy it, but I'd rather sit on the money.
That's the one where they're on the beach, right?
Yes, that one. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, the from the ending sequence.
Yeah. Well, that one. There's when it comes to Beatles records, there's valuable records. There's like rare records, and then there is rare records, and that's that rare Swiss. Take a shot every time he says rare. That Swiss Help with the scene from the end. That's
the Bahamas photo. Yeah,
that is top tier rare.
Yes, and the only way to get it is I believe there are fakes out there of that particular press and I think on colored vinyl as well. But those two are rare. I don't see much of it. If I see one, I'd pick it up, even though I prefer to have the original of that.
Is the rarest record in your collection the gold label Please Please Me?
It's one of them.
What is
them.
The rarest?
So many rarest. One of them I'm going to go back to the Beatles versus the Four Seasons album. It is I have the authentic stereo of that album, and that one's very rare. And another one. This is also a VJ. This is I have a lot of rare records, but I can't narrow it down to one.
Yeah.
Particular record. But another one that I like to mention, which the rarity level is high, is the Beatles and Frank Ifield on stage, and it's an authentic one. I managed
cover?
to get it for the portrait one. The portrait one, and I bought it from a Discog seller who was located in Greece. I had no idea why that album was in Greece, but he showed me pictures of it because I wanted to see if there's any signs that it really is an authentic copy, and it looks authentic to me, so I went ahead and bought it, and it was like a high 2-digit amount.
Really? Only high 2 digits?
For way, yes, and it goes for way more than that.
Again, I will use the phrase, "you lucky fucker." Two-digit portrait cover. Oh my god.
But I had to pay money for shipping because it was coming from Greece.
That is true.
Yeah, I didn't know why the hell there's a cuss in there. I didn't know why the hell it was in Greece. It was kind of weird. And then he had another copy listed later, and someone bought that.
Shout out to that someone.
Shout out to that someone. There's no way to see who. It just shows the listing and the listing of another copy and sold for however much on Discogs.
And I'll ask one last collecting question before I ask some more general stuff.
Okay.
Is there any, one record that's kind of your holy grail that you've been looking for that's just eluded you?
It's a very good question, but a very tough one. I might have to go with the Stereo Second State Butcher album in The Shrink.
Oh, that's
But my answer will change. I have so many rare records. My answer will change.
Yeah.
On certain days. But for now, I'm gonna say the Second State Stereo Butcher album with The Shrink.
What I like about the Butchers is not like other rare records. There's a certain level of attainability to Second State Butchers, because all the time you hear about people in flea markets or one store that keeps coming up that I hear about is in the US, Half Price Books. I've heard of more than one Second State Butcher being found there for $2.
Wow.
Shout out to Half Price Books. Send me a butcher.
I managed to get a Second State mono butcher album at one of my local. It was shortly after I purchased the Second State stereo butcher album on Discogs with The Shrink. Sometime in the summer. Well, after that, I wasn't buying any more copies of Second State butcher albums. I was kind of taking a break from them. But in the summer, after I bought the stereo Second State and The Shrink, I went to my local record store on a Saturday afternoon, and unfortunately this store is closed because of the pandemic. I tried going in, but at the time when they were open, I went through the new arrivals, and I saw a Yesterday and Today album. I checked it to see if there's any signs that it's a butcher, and there was a peeled corner on the bottom right. I lift it, and there was a butcher cover underneath it. And it was listed for $4.
You've got to be kidding me.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Am I being set up? Am I being set up or something?
Yeah.
So I had to check it. I had to check it to make sure that that it is a Second State Butcher album, and it was. And I checked another corner that was PO'd, and which is the top right corner, and I saw the Butcher Slick underneath too. So I'm like, okay, I'll get this for $4.
Well, it's like, okay, well, there's a reason why this isn't a video podcast, because the jealousy is palpable.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I kind of wanted to do an audio anyway.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, no, because I don't want people to
video,
see, like, me drooling over these records.
I understand that, because when I appear on video, I like to look real good.
Yeah, and I never look real good.
Oh, it's all good. No biggie.
Yeah. Now I'll ask you what I like to call these the quickfire questions, even though the answers are never quick.
Okay.
What is your favorite Beatles song?
Like Paul McCartney says, it's tough to have a favorite Beatles song. But if I have to pick one, probably A Day in a Life. I don't know. Either A Day in a Life or In My Life. I'm not sure at the moment of my, because I love all the Beatles songs.
Yeah.
I love all the Beatles songs that they release on their albums. Yes, there's Revolution 9 on the White Album, but there's not a single Beatles track that I dislike. I love all of them. But if I have to pick one, I don't know. A Day in a Life or In My Life. Maybe I Am the Walrus. I don't know. But I'll say A Day in a Life for now.
That is the first time I think someone has said I Am the Walrus as part of like a favorite answer thing, and you have earned my respect.
It's one of my favorites. I wouldn't say number one, but I'm just throwing that in.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm gonna go with A Day in a Life for now. Since it's been number one on many people's list. But and In My Life is another one.
The songs with life in the title.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think on the spot. Are there any other Beatles songs with life in the title?
Got to Get You Into My Life.
Okay, but that's not... Okay. So, my joke I was about to make just got ruined because there are other songs with life in the title.
Yes. Yeah, I'm also trying to think, but Got to Get You In My Life is another one.
So, you kind of said in your answer that there aren't any songs you dislike. I kind of want to see how far that goes with this. What is your least favorite Beatles song?
Least favorite Beatles song. That's another one that takes me out right there. But and the reason I never mention a least favorite, I have least favorites, but it's just the big worry is being slammed by other Beatle fans. I love that song. Why is that your least favorite?
If you say yours, I'll say a popular song by the Beatles that I don't like, that I will get slammed for, and I'll take the heat.
Go ahead and say it, and then it will lead me to try to say something there. Go ahead and say it.
I'll Follow the Sun. I don't like that song at all. I will change the station if that comes on the radio.
That one I might have to disagree. But this one, it's not written by the Beatles. But the song that comes later, the next song after I'll Follow the Sun, which is Mr. Moonlight.
Oh no. I
love John's vocal on that cover. Mm-hmm. But it's actually one of my very least favorite Beatles tracks. But that's one I don't dislike. But I like the anthology. I like the outtake that was used on the anthology better, to be honest.
There's a running gag on this show. I'm not even going to try it because I know it's hard for you to pick a least favorite. where I get really defensive over the song Mr. Moonlight, because, like, my first few guests, all in succession, said Mr. Moonlight was their least favorite, so I've tried to become the Mr. Moonlight defender.
Yeah, there's another one I know who really likes the song, because it's one of the Beatle girls in the community. I remember her saying that she loves Mr. Moonlight.
Well, it's just so cheesy. I love it.
I understand. I kind of like the weird guitar solo when in the outtake that was used in Anthology 1. and another one which is on what I often consider my favorite Beatles album.
Don't say what it is yet, because that's the next question.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll ask it now. What is your favorite Beatles album?
It is the White. It's either Revolver or the White Album, but I would often pick the White Album.
Okay. Again, running joke on this show, your answer is half correct. There is a correct answer when it comes to favorite Beatles album.
Yeah, I'll just go on default and say the White Album.
I forgive you. No, it's
but like I said, sometime if you ask me at another time my favorite Beatles album, it could change to Revolver. For many years, Revolver has been my favorite.
Revolver is my favorite.
Yes.
So
yes, but there is a song on the White Album. The White Album has a great variety on it. There's a song on there.
That is one way to put it.
There's also a song on the White Album. I don't skip over this song, but this is a song that I don't enjoy as much as the other Beatles songs. It's Honey Pie. And Wild Honey Pie too.
Wild Honey Pie is a bit of a cop-out answer, but you know what?
Yes.
I agree. I think I'll probably be a little bit more harsh about the song than you might. I really dislike the song Honey Pie. When people talk about like Paul's like granny songs, that's what comes to mind.
Absolutely. People pick on people mention things like When I'm 64 and Maxwell Silver Hammer as Paul's granny music, even though that song's about a serial killer.
I know.
Musically it's more granny style.
To me, it can't be granny if it has lyrics. A Moog synthesizer and it's 1969. No. That's just innovation.
No. Yes, I agree with you there. I agree with you that the Moog there in the Moog synthesizer in the first half of the song. But whenever this song, I listen to the Beatles channel, not all the time, but usually when I usually put on Chris Carter.
Yeah.
And then I would listen to more of the Beatles channel after Chris wraps up his show. Whenever Honey Pie comes on, I let it play. But my feeling of Honey Pie is I don't enjoy it as much as the other Beatles songs. So I might cite that one, but also least favorite would vary. Everything varies. With the Beatles, to be fair, because it's just tough to pick one thing.
You mentioned the Beatles channel. When Honey Pie comes on, that's my signal to switch over to like Underground Garage or something. Go listen to Chris Carter's other show,
British Invasion. Yes.
Yeah. He's someone. Chris, if you're listening, hit me up. He's someone I'd love to have on the show.
Yeah, I hope you get Chris. I'll be listening. If you got all these giant Beatle people, the bigger experts. I'm sure someday you'll get Chris, but we'll see.
Yeah. And so if your favorite Beatles album,
by the way, my parents celebrated their anniversary this summer. And my father emailed a playlist for Chris Carter.
Really?
Chris Carter played the songs for my parents.
Really? On
Yes.
Beatles channel?
On Breakfast with the Beatles. I can't remember all the songs, but one of them is "I Will."
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's actually really sweet.
Yes. They recorded that show too. They re-record some of the Breakfast with the Beatles show, like that particular show, and when Paul called in, Paul McCartney called in.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other songs that my father requested, but "I Will" is one of them. What I remember.
So you mentioned your favorite Beatles album. What is your least favorite Beatles album?
Well, I'm gonna have to say "Yellow Submarine," mainly because it's half Beatles music. 4 of them were previously unreleased, and you have the George Martin Orchestra on side 2, and it's really because it's not a proper album, and that's another one I don't dislike. That one I'll put it on, listen through it, even listen through the George Martin Orchestra score that's in the movie. It's just I don't enjoy as much as the other albums.
To me, like, it would be so easy to have Yellow Submarine be my least favorite, but
yes.
Like 2 of my favorite Beatles songs, that are in my top 5 favorite Beatles songs, are on that album. It's Only a Northern Song and It's All Too Much. That
both Georges.
Both George songs recorded for Sgt. Pepper that were both rejected for Sgt. Pepper.
Only a Northern Song was recorded for Sgt. Pepper. It's All Too Much. I think was done after they completed Sgt. Pepper.
You are right there. I stand corrected.
Yes,
it was recorded just after the album came out. I'll have to check the Mark Lewison book.
After it came. Yeah, I'm gonna check that check that as well. But I remember it was after Sgt. Pepper that they did "It's All Too Much."
I think you're right there.
And there's an 8-minute version of that song, which is on bootlegs, and also Chris plays it.
Well, I love the 8-minute version.
I like to see a 12-inch single of that.
12-inch single of 8-minute version of "It's All Too Much" and "Carnival of Light" on the B-side.
Carnival of Light. Well, I doubt it, but that would be interesting.
Oh, it'll get released someday.
It's gonna have to. I'm sure of it.
Oh, indeed, because they're running out of things to put out.
Yes, you got these 50th anniversary reissues going on. Well, Let It Be is going to be next.
So we think.
Yes.
And last question. What do the Beatles mean to you?
What the Beatles mean to me, there's so much I can say about what the Beatles mean to me. One of them is they're brilliant. They're brilliant people. Not just singer-songwriters and musicians. They're brilliant people in general. All 4 of them. I don't know if the Beatles mean to me that they're really all about entertaining us with their music, and also with the love message to say love is a good thing. All you need is love there. But that one, what the Beatles mean to me, it's, I could go on and on about that. There's just so much I could say. That there's just so much positive things I can say about what they mean to me. But all I say is that what they mean to me is that they so much.
It's hard to put
say.
into words sometimes.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, about what they mean to me. But I will say that their music helps me get through life. That when I need some entertainment, when I need something to entertain me, it would be the Beatles music. The music the music connects with me. Their singing voices connect with me. It's like they're talking to me. Singing and talking. Talking the words and singing it. Basically, I don't mean like talk normally like I do, but music speaks to me, and they touch so many people's lives, including you and me. That was kind of an awkward answer, but
that's okay.
But it is positive. It is a mainly positive. What they mean to me. I don't know if I answered it properly.
There is no proper answer.
I just answered whatever comes to mind. But
that's the beauty.
Yes. Yeah, but they get me through life. They keep me happy and entertained. And even when I'm not in the mood to listen to them, I still collect their stuff.
Yeah.
I collect their stuff to keep my love of them going.
Even like when it's like, if I hear another Beatles song, I've just been listening to them too much, and you get sick of them. Yes. And it's like, hey, guess what? New singles box set. It's like, fine, I'll buy it.
Well, preferably the 50th anniversary reissues where you hear the outtakes that weren't even on the bootlegs.
Preferably.
Yes. Yeah. And there another thing I like to bring up is that the Beatles, the Beatles, their music brings people together. It brings all of us together.
Like you and me.
We're in a great environment together.
I don't think I could have put it better.
Yes.
So now it's the fun part of the show. I get to turn it over to you. Where can people find you?
Links, like channel links.
Yeah, and I'll put like the links in the description. But tell a little about your channels.
Okay. All right. I currently have 2 YouTube channels. Both are active, but I post the most on this channel, which is Beatlevinyl85. Beatlevinyl85 without the S after Beatles. I post my Beatle finds, Beatle unboxing videos, and I also post fun videos about the Beatles as well as concert footage, particular concert footage of concerts I went to, whether if it's a Paul concert or a Ringo concert. Like I just put up I went to see the Stones last year, and I decided to put the Stones concert footage on the Beatlevinyl85 channel. But I
saw the Stones last year too.
Yes, but I put the note that I showed it for fun. I posted it for fun for my fellow Beatle people who are also Stones fans.
Yeah.
But I also I show my finds. I do all sorts of stuff on this channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate you subscribe to me, and I love to see comments on videos and also the likes and the views and stuff. So Beatlevinyl85, and the other channel that I don't post much, but I plan to post again in the future when I get to working on artist collection videos is my Vinyl 2, all one word. And my Instagram is Beatlevinyl, which is all one word. And my Facebook is Marvin Gee, which is a Gee. A G as in go, E as in echo, E as in echo.
I recommend, if you are a Beatle record nerd, go follow the Instagram, because you will find yourself yelling at your phone multiple times a day. It's like, God damn it! Why does he got that? Ugh. Yeah. Like, say, like a German export pressing a please me or something like that. Yeah, I'm not projecting.
Regarding that record, it may be identical to the UK album, but the fact that it's a German press and German export one, which is different from the Die Beatles pressing with a different cover and better sound quality. But I know where you're going with that. But that's one of the ones I love having.
Now it's my least favorite part of the show because I have to say my little spiel, which I always find it's like a tongue twister. All right,
yes.
So ready, set, go. If you're watching this on YouTube, where a lot of you seem to watch or listen because it's an audio show, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Also, please hit that bell notification icon so you get notified every time a new episode of Fans on the Run goes up, which is about every Friday. If you aren't listening to this on like a streaming service, then I should tell you we are streaming pretty much everywhere a good podcast can be heard. So Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbay, Podbean, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere. Anywhere you can consume podcasts, I am there, whether you like it or not. And we're also on social media. You can find me on Facebook at Fans on the Run Pod or Podcast, Twitter at Fans on the Run Pod, and then on Instagram at Fans on the Run Podcast, where I post all the cool artwork from the show. And
I also have a Twitter, but I just resurrected it after Joe Mean Mr. Mayo contacted me about Sean Lennon acknowledging his video on Twitter. I believe it's Beatlevinyl1 or something. I'll give you the Twitter link when I get the chance.
All the links will be in the description. But anyways, Marv, thank you for coming on the show today. I've had a lot of fun talking about Beatle records. I always have a lot of fun talking about Beatle records.
You're very welcome, Ethan, and thank you for asking me to be interviewed for your show. I'm sorry it took so long because I got so much going on, but I'm glad I got this taken care of for you.
It's all good. I'm really glad you came on. To everyone else out there, thank you for listening. You can go home.
Fans on the Run is produced by Ethan Alexanian. Additional voiceovers by Richard Phillip. This has been a Showtown production.